everyone. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show. I'm Deborah Prinzing, founder of the Slow Flowers Society and host of the show. I'm so thrilled today to welcome Kristen Rubin of Sweetwater Stem Co. Hi, Kristen.
Hello.
It's so good to see you. Thanks for doing this with
Good to
me.
be here. Thank you.
We are only about 20 miles away from each other, so this is kind of pathetic, but it's winter, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying before we started recording, that we are located nearby each other, but we finally met this past fall at a flower farming event in Kitsap County, and it just made me realize I wanted to get you on the podcast. And I think we even talked about it briefly at that coffee gathering, but now we're here. And I'd love to have you introduce Sweetwater Stem Co. To the Slow Flowers community. What are you growing? Where are you located? How is this business set up? And we'll go from there.
Yes. I started growing about 5 years ago in Gig Harbor, Washington. That's where my farm is at. I have been growing for 5 years, and my specialty is tulips, ranunculus, lizzianthus, and I sell through the local stores in the Gig Harbor area, and I have a farm stand on my farm.
Wow. And just to put you on the map, I'm in South Seattle, halfway between Seattle and Tacoma. And if you go to Tacoma and then cross the bridge over to the peninsula, that's where Gig Harbor is, which is kind of a charming, lots of waterfront, lots of boats, lots of tourists and second homes. But how did you end up there?
I moved my husband's job really brought us here. We moved to Alaska. And when we moved, my husband wanted to get property, and we looked out in the Puyallup area, but with the commuting, it just didn't work. Mm-hmm. So we were looking in the Gig Harbor area, and we came across this property in the Nash Valley that had highland cattle on it. And it was real rundown, very vintage, but I saw a vision. I had a vision. And
wow. So you're you're outside the village of Gig Harbor. You're in, is it sort of more semi-rural or?
Yeah, it's classified rural. It's about 12 minutes outside the uptown area, and it's out towards a place called Fox Island. Just very strategically located that most of the people commuting home off the freeway have to drive through the valley past my farm stand to their houses. So it worked out really well.
Was that part of the vision when you realized the location was? Oh, okay, because you're brilliant.
It was just luck. My thought, I think, being a new plant and a new grower, not really knowing what was out there, I was thinking I was going to be doing farmers markets.
Sure, that's how a lot of people get started, right?
And that was in 2019, and then I grew that year, and then I thought, okay, I'm ready to go to the market. And of course, COVID shut everything down. And so there's the big pivot.
Yes. Oh, Kristen.
Okay, now what do I do? And Gig Harbor just really embraced the whole local flowers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a really kind of echoes what I've heard from people in other regions, in that all of a sudden people are kind of closer to home and they're looking to support local anything, but farmers were part of the beneficiaries of that. I also want to say, when you say you're 12 minutes away from the uptown area, that is like the big shopping district. Yes. Most flower farmers who are on rural land are not 12 minutes away from the big city. They're like maybe 90 minutes away. So that's a benefit for you.
Yes. And I actually sell them out of little mom and pop stores that are like a mile down the road. And I have my farm stand. And then I actually go over to Fox Island. That's about 10 minutes from me. The opposite way, they're 20 minutes from and I sell on the island there too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. And it is Fox Island I've been there once or twice. It's an island that you can drive across a bridge to get to. So that's a benefit compared to waiting in the ferry line. Well, Kristen, what is your acreage? You obviously are probably growing on a lot less than you have, but talk a little bit about how this cattle farm became a flower farm.
Yeah, and it was before it was cattle, it was horse stables. So we have some tiered areas. It's 8 acres, and we have lower acreage that is designated wetlands that we cannot grow in.
Oh, wow.
But it sure creates beauty of birds and everything, the animals that are brought in.
It's your pastoral scenery
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
The borrowed view. Oh, I can't wait to visit.
And we have 3 hoop houses, and then we have an area, probably was about an acre and a half all planted.
Okay.
And when I first started, it was just like maybe a quarter or a half of that. And it's just over the years, it's gotten bigger and bigger. And then as that occurs, the need was there.
Yeah.
It was just, the need was there, and I kept increasing. And then last year we got a few employers to help, because I was like, oh,
wow,
my retirement job is turning into something big. Yeah.
Hardcore. Well, referring to the need being there, I think let's talk a little bit about that, because you're alluding to who's buying your flowers, right? In terms of your marketplace.
Yeah.
What okay, so you thought you were going to start out selling to farmers markets, and then that kind of got put on hold. Did you start your on-farm sales during the COVID period, where you could have like contactless, safe access to flowers, or
what
came first?
I took my flowers down to the little market, and I asked her if I could sell some flowers out. She's like, oh yeah, I can sell those for you. So pretty soon I was bringing in them, and then word got out, and then I was bringing in more. And then Fox Island heard, and they asked me to do there. And so that first year I didn't sell off the farm. I was just trying to keep up with the demand.
You were just were you taking bouquets or single?
Bouquets.
Okay.
Bouquets.
And when you see them
with daffodils, my first bouquets were daffodils.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so Pacific Northwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. So when you say the market, do you mean like a local grocery store, or?
Yes, they're just like little mom and pop stores along the area, so you don't have to drive in the 12 minutes to
So where you get your eggs and your milk and
exactly, yeah.
And so they didn't really have a source for flowers before you came on.
No,
wow.
And it became a really big thing. And then, so from that, people, saw my name and saw that and started asking. And so then the following year, I got the farm stand on the property.
Okay. And that's where everybody's driving past to come home from. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so that's open usually Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if the flowers hold out. And then the store is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday during the week. So I don't have people coming on the farm during the weekdays.
Oh, I see. So you kind of handle the weekend crowd, because there's probably more.
A lot, yeah.
And when they stop at your farm stand, what are you staffing it yourself, or are you kind of doing it on the honor system?
It's the honor system.
Wow.
And fingers crossed, it's gone really well.
I'm so glad. Yeah. In general, that's what I hear. I mean, I guess there's like one theft season or something that kind of crushes your soul. But
usually there's little notes saying I owe you, or and then it all 1 week I'll have extra money. But yeah, it's cute.
Wow. So is it also cash and carry, like they're getting pre-designed bouquets?
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And do you have them in mason jars, or do people just take the arrangement?
Just bouquets. Yeah. I've done occasional, like on teachers, teacher appreciation, I'll do mason jars and stuff like that, but mainly bouquets. People usually come for bouquets, and they can call in special order bouquets from me. I need like 48 hours usually. So I do that also, but.
So do you like the design part of it, Kristen? Because you were saying earlier you don't like to do admin, you like to farm.
I actually had some people help me this year with bouquets. I do like making bouquets, but the amount of bouquets that are needing to be made are
cranking it out.
Yeah. And I do prefer the growing and the seeding and the growing and the harvesting better than I don't have as much confidence.
Well, how did you I mean, let's back up a little bit. You moved here from Alaska, but are you originally from the lower 48?
Yes, I grew up in Everett, Washington.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
kind of a PNW girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I
how
moved to Eastern Washington and then to Alaska and then
okay.
down here. Yeah.
Um, were flowers part of your life in those other places, or why now? Like, what made this all happen? You
Um,
said retirement, but you're too young for that.
yes. So growing up, my mother was a very big component of teaching me how to
Yeah.
grow.
Hmm.
We had a large garden in our backyard, and she would grow vegetables and um, and it was just like a happy time that
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Me and my sister out there in the pea patch eating the peas and shelling peas on the back porch.
Love
Um,
that.
and then me and my sister had a garden in Eastern Washington too, lots of great tomatoes. But then when I moved to Alaska,
It's too hard.
yeah. And peonies though. If I ever
Yes.
go back, peonies is going to be the thing.
Yes. And if I just visited our member in Wasilla this
Mhm.
summer, Misty Vanderweel, and she grows a lot in the field and also under high tunnels, but she's accepted that her growing season is 4.5 months or something like that. it's
Uh-huh.
it's really it's really not something that you if you don't have a greenhouse you probably don't do in
Right.
Alaska.
Yeah.
so
That's cool.
so it was flowers were probably not even in the mix for you then.
No, no, no. And even my house, my yard I hardly grew any flowers in it. But my
Yeah.
husband, when we moved down here, he was the one that was like, let's get some property and do that. And I'm like, I was all for it.
Wow.
And he was thinking vegetables. And I said, well, I've heard that flowers, local flowers is going to be a big thing. That was in 2018 that we.
Wow, I love it. And that you have a little bit of this family legacy of gardening
Mhm.
and positive memories that kind of seem like, it would be a joyful experience, even though I know it's tons of hard work.
Yes.
But well, that's interesting. So you started with daffodils.
Mhm.
Um, you must have planted them that first fall and then
Mhm.
had them blooming in the spring. And then is that when you said, how am I going to sell these? Or
Yeah, no, well, no, like I said, my idea was that I was going to be doing the farmer's
oh,
market.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't work. So,
Right, but people still wanted flowers.
oh yeah, yeah, it was just the farmers markets were all shut down.
So
So,
these little grocery markets evolved into word of mouth. More people were
mhm,
contacting you,
mhm.
and now what's your mix? Do you have kind of the direct to consumer component as
Oh
well
yeah.
as a wholesale component?
So after that first year, people were approaching me for events and weddings, DIY weddings, and growers buckets and things like that. And I sell to florists. I have quite a few florists that are really promoting local flowers, and also just the public doing your DIY weddings.
Right. And so, how do people generally? Do you have an availability list for florists or?
Yes. Yes. So we I have an availability list that goes through my friend who's a florist, and she has all her contacts.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and then I have just special. I just do the Mailchimp, you know,
Newsletter. Yeah.
availability list that I do on a weekly
Oh,
basis.
so somebody could request that from you.
What? Yes, yes, yeah.
Well, I know our mutual friend, Christina Stemble from Farm Girl Flowers, is telling me that I don't think she's very specific when she orders from you. She just wants what's freshest and
Yeah.
looks the best, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes, no, that was quite shocking when I had an order form for Christina, and I was like, "Is this the Farm Girl Flowers?" And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Oh, talk about pressure."
Well, and I, as I understand it, because she lives in Gig Harbor now,
Mhm.
she does. there's phases of this, but she does a lot of online content where she's designing and just talking about technique and all. And I think that's when she was needing local flowers, right? Because she doesn't have access otherwise, unless she drives up to Seattle, which, is why your demand is why you're meeting such important demand is traffic.
Yes, and that's another thing that the local farmers in my area are trying to get together, because the commute is so long, and having to go over the bridge and pay tolls, that we know that there's florists that would totally benefit from a group of us farmers getting together.
Okay, well, that's a lovely, nice segue to your because why ask? A busy woman can always find time to do one more thing. So the Gig Harbor Farmer Guild or Flower Farmer Guild, what's the actual title?
Gig Harbor Flower Farmers Guild. Yeah.
Okay. You are the instigator behind this group, I understand. But are there a few other people?
There is a few other people. We started out just finding the local gardeners in the area. We had got to talking, and Lindsay Mesa from Fox Island Flowers started a chat amongst the flower farmers in our area. And one of the florists, my friend, Sherry from White Glove Pink Apron, she was the one that instigated getting us all together in the summer. And I wasn't able to attend that, but the next November, I think, we all got together and we said, hey, let's form the Gig Harbor Guild and sell to retail and wholesale to florists. So they can access local.
This was about a year ago then?
Yes. It's been
wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, interesting that you were instigated by a florist who was, for her own selfish reasons, wanted to simplify the flower sourcing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. She's been extremely active getting the florists and the farmers together, saying, hey, we have these farmers here that are growing flowers and that are available and that are fresh, and they're getting together, and we'd like you to come purchase flowers for us. And we're starting to, last summer we sold uptown of area,
it's like a shopping district, right?
Shopping district. Yeah. And it was a huge success.
Wow. So tell me how it's structured. Is it weekly or certain months? How did you end up kind of manifesting this seed of an idea?
It's all new.
Yeah, so, it's still in development, right?
Yes, it's still in development. We're trying to figure it all out. We get availability list, a fresh sheet, and we have our list of florists we send it to, and that's usually on a Monday morning. And then on Wednesday, they can come to the Uptown Market and pick up what they want. And they can also look and see the extra flowers that we've brought and that haven't, that are available. So they can purchase ahead of time, so they have their order ready. Plus, they can look at other flowers to purchase.
That's Island Flower Growers Cooperative on Vancouver Island in Canada. I visited them this past April, and it's very much the same. The pre-orders are a larger percentage of what's there, but the florists who have to come pick up their order inevitably shop more, right?
They find extra things. Oh, look at that phlox, or
So is it, in a way, Kristen, because you're still kind of developing this, is it still individual transactions with each flower farmer?
As of right now, it is. Down the road, we're hoping to come up with a different pay method, but as of right now, it's individual.
Yeah. So I'm curious on the business structure, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but is there, do the farmers pay a percentage to the guild, or do you not need that because you don't really have overhead?
We don't have overhead right now. We're not needing that, but we are paying dues to belong to the guild. And then there's different tiers. So we have our founding members that are selling down at the market, our wholesale. Everybody's allowed to do wholesale, but the retail aspect where we're making bouquets and selling down there, that's for, you have to kind of be grandfathered into that, because that's a big part too. Just people walking by wanting a bouquet of flowers.
Wow.
And a lot of the smaller gardeners, our flower farmers, are doing that, as opposed to the larger farms that are bunching for wholesale florists.
When you use the word gardener, but do you mean like people who kind of are segueing from being avid home gardeners to thinking about selling their flowers?
Yes, yes.
Really?
We have Harbor Girl Flowers. She has amazing bouquets. She does amazing work. She just has a really small backyard area, but every Wednesday she was sold out in the first half hour of
Wow.
because she's
Wow.
just beautiful.
Because
She
word
has an eye.
word got out then
Yeah.
among so you do it on Wednesdays, and this is like kind of just during the growing season? When did you
Yes,
actually start?
we start in March. Tulips and we don't have that much tulips. We go to the ranunculus, and then it's usually from 10 to 1 that we do it, or 10 until we're sold out, and it's Wednesdays. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's so great. And did you each just I'm asking these questions because every week I hear from somebody who wants to do something like this around the country. So I know this is going to be helpful, but getting a group of flower farmers together on the same day to sell, first of all, that's a challenge.
Uh-huh.
And obviously the location worked out really well for you because it doesn't sound like you're paying for the space. It's sort of
No,
it's like a pavilion, right? It's like an
it's a
open air.
pavilion. Yes, it's a beautiful area. Yeah.
Yeah, and you sent me a photo, so we'll share that in our show notes because it's sort of where, I don't know, where concerts take place or something, or
Yeah,
what?
they'll do music. So they'll do like a ladies' night. It's just a nice shopping area. Yeah,
And
but
then this is like the public gathering space at the shopping area.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's an easy access off the freeway into the area, and for yeah.
And parking is free, and I think that's a big plus. Okay, so you've got the farmers together. How did you get the word out? How did you was it just people who were already there picking up their coffee and saw it, or what?
I think, well, it was, Instagram is a fabulous vehicle for
Yeah.
getting promoting, and Uptown, they promoted on their website, and just the word of mouth through Gig Harbor, and the
So
first
cool.
and the florists, of course, we sent emails to all the florists, but that first Wednesday was really good, and each following Wednesday has been really good. But we've only been doing it. We only did it so we didn't start till September.
At that venue.
September,
At that
yes.
venue. So
Yes, at that
you
venue.
were at a different location before that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we're ready for March.
I was gonna say, leave them wanting more, right? I
Yep.
mean, it's really great to have that kind of sponsoring venue, which I love that they're promoting it, because if you were a shopping mall owner, wouldn't you want to create events to get people to come? Maybe they'll shop while they're there and go
Mhm.
into the retail vendors. So the retail merchants are supportive of this. They don't see you
Well,
as competition.
yes, and they come out and shop too.
I love it. And one other question, and that is on the wholesale versus retail. I know that's always a tension for some, well, not always, but often a tension. Do the florists mind that you're selling to the public, or like how do you rationalize that?
No, because I think that they realize that there's, certain customers that are looking more for a market bouquet, as opposed to a lot of the wholesalers are buying for events and weddings and things like that. And the prices are different too.
They are, okay. And if do you have retail flower shop owners who shop from you, or is that sort of, there really aren't any in the area?
Say that again. Retail.
Retail flower shops, are they buying from you too?
No, I don't think they're they're not.
Yeah.
Not at this
Yeah.
point. But I mean, at a wholesale, I mean, that's why we send out the fresh sheet, because the prices for the wholesalers are.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
It's so smart. And I guess it's back to your point about, the smaller gardener, early adopter kind of person who's moving from a hobbyist to actually entrepreneur. Their market bouquets are their calling card. Whereas it sounds like you at Sweetwater Stem, you're growing quantities. So you're happy to go after the wedding and event customer who wants 20 bunches of the same variety, that sort of thing. You can
Right.
do that.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of the two tiers that we have. We have,
Mhm.
like I said, smaller farms that they do they don't want to do wholesale really.
Right,
But they
right.
want to be part of the guild and they want to sell their flowers, and they don't have a farm stand, or they're zoned so they can't do that. And so it has really benefited both of us.
I love that you're making kind of space for everybody.
Yes.
What do you have? I mean, we talked about you getting started with daffodils, but give me kind of your crop mix for the whole year. Like, what are you known for, and what do you love to grow?
What I love to grow, ranunculus. Everybody loves ranunculus. They're just the beautiful
Juicy
flower. Yeah, they're just.
So you're already planting those, right? Or you will be soon?
I have hoop houses, so I have 2 hoop houses planted in ranunculus, and then I do my lisianthus. That's a love-hate relationship.
I've never grown them, so I can only empathize with what you're saying and what I heard. Yeah.
I love it when everything goes right. This last year wasn't the best year. I don't know why, but.
Are you growing them from plugs?
Yeah, from plugs.
Okay. Yeah.
Farmer.
Yeah. Okay, so that's sort of ranunculus, and your spring bulbs are kind of your first crop, and then you segue into the summer crops, and that's when you do the lisianthus.
Yeah, lisianthus. Oh yeah, snapdragons. That's another. The top 5. I love those. Ami, just a lot of just market flowers. We also grow astilbe and the corn cockle. People don't get that at a market usually. A corn cockle is more of a flower farmer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, some of the just listening to your list, I'm like, well, she's building a bouquet in her head as she's describing, because you need the focal and the texture and the accent. So you can't just grow dahlias. You have to, if you're going to build a bouquet, you have to have a whole complement.
Variety, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, and we have lots of deer pressure, so we put up temporary fences in the summer. Our sunflowers, thank goodness for, I have another flower farmer, Humming Harvest. She's an amazing farmer. And
she's a Slow Flowers member. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to buy sunflowers from her last year because my deer took them all out. The easiest flower to grow. And I had
they munched on them
for my bouquets.
So your high tunnels or hoops are going to protect everything underneath from deer, but in the open field.
The open fields.
Oh no. What are you going to do?
What? Well, I put up this funny temporary fence because it's a wetland area and I can't have
a permanent fence.
Oh no.
So,
and it keeps them out. It does keep them out. I'm embarrassed for the neighbors to see my.
I think they're overlooking that because they like your flowers so much.
Yeah. They
do.
Do.
That's a challenge. So is it kind of influencing what choices you make about what you grow then?
Yeah, the roses. I tried growing roses. I've given up. The deer just eat them.
No.
And they just love them. They like hydrangeas too, but
it's so crushing.
I try, try and put them where I can, but the perennials are a little bit harder for me. And so, yeah, I've given up on the roses.
Well, I mean, I guess the lesson is just after trial and error, what's going to do well on your farm, and that's what you'll go deep into. And that's, building that wholesale customer who wants quantities. It's sort of a good solution versus, trying to do a little bit of everything, which is a lot of people start out wanting to do a little bit of everything and growing 100 varieties. And, it's all beautiful and it's fun, but it's not necessarily the right business decision, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah. I've very much scaled back the list of flowers that I've tried to grow.
Well, tell me, I'm looking at your logo behind you, the cute pickup truck with the flowers. Do you have a pickup truck?
We do not.
That's on your wish list.
I know it is. Everybody has one.
Well, not everybody. I don't have one, but no, I mean, it's a cute logo, and it kind of it's something that really telegraphs farm and agriculture, but also the flowers. So I do like it. You said people are coming to your farm for your farm stand, and that what are other ways people can engage with Sweetwater Stem Co? I'm sure you get a lot of requests of people who want to come visit.
Yes. In the past, we haven't had people come on the farm because there's a lot of regulations, but I'm hoping for 2024 to be able to hold some events for either a night on the farm or you pick type of events. So we're looking into that and of course some bouquet classes that we're hopefully going.
So do you have an area where you can do that, like a barn or?
Yeah, we have 2 barns on the area, and we have some covered areas that we can utilize. But
oh my gosh.
Okay. Like I said, the farm was vintage, and it's taken quite a few years to get everything looking good.
I mean, look what you've done in 5 years, Kristen. That's amazing. You've created a market where the demand didn't even exist, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And now the customers are expecting you to show up and have flowers.
Yes, yeah. And I get some of those. Where are the flowers? That's the same thing I sell. I also sell eggs out of the farm stand.
Oh, you do? Fun.
Yeah, it's funny. On Saturday mornings, they'll be lined up and get ready to get the eggs, and it's like, oh, I don't want to make anybody mad.
When they're gone, they're gone. I mean, when they're gone, they're gone, right? Yeah. Oh, that's great. I can't wait to come visit. I obviously got you after the end of the season, but there's always that opening day at Uptown. Let me know about that, or I'll follow you on Instagram and come visit. Yes. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for sharing what you guys are doing. And kudos to all your colleagues, some of whom I got to meet. A few of them are Slow Flowers members. So when you mentioned Amy at Humming Harvest, I was like, yeah, I know she's got great stuff. But people can follow Sweetwater Stem Co on Instagram, and then also the Gig Harbor Flower Farmers Guild has its own account, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, yeah. Great. We'll add that to our show notes so people can find and follow you.
Yes.
And are you, what's your holiday plan? Are you doing wreaths, or are you kind of out of that business?
Yeah, no, I'm taking some time off. I had every intention of doing wreaths. I did eucalyptus wreaths in November. They were a hit.
Oh, neat.
But yeah. I'm ready. I needed December off.
You need to read your seed catalogs.
Yes, exactly. Plan so there's flowers for next year. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's so much fun. Thank you, Kristen, for joining us. And we'll have lots of photos that Kristen has shared with me in our show notes at slowflowerspodcast.com, and also all her social places so you can find and follow her. Happy holidays.
Thank you.